listening to the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast, a podcast in sisterhood for female entrepreneurs that serves up savvy, actionable marketing advice and interviews with creative business owners who are in the trenches, building their businesses as we speak. The Marketing in Yoga Pants community is for you, the girl on her couch, in her yoga pants, top knot tight, hunched over her MacBook, trying her hardest to get the word out about her business. So in the name of supporting each other while supporting ourselves, bringing community, sound marketing advice, coffee, chocolate, and wine together for you, yoga pants wearing business owner, in a world where followers mean nothing, but paying customers mean the world, join us on this week's podcast episode and in our private Facebook group where you'll meet your soul sisters and build your business in yoga pants. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. I'm Brit and I'm here today with Megan Seeley, founder of The Goal Designer. Thank you so much for joining me today, Megan.
Yay, thank you for having me.
All right, so Megan and I first met via a Facebook group, How I Meet Everyone. She was actually a moderator of that Facebook group, and she just through the network of the people that we've connected with have become amazing friends. And it's so funny because we hopped on this podcast interview call and realized, wait a second, we've actually never had a virtual coffee chat yet. And this is our first time actually talking face to face, which is so funny because I feel like I know Megan and her life and she knows me and mine. And that's just the brilliance of the internet these days. But so Megan and I have become great friends over the past couple of months. And I'm so pumped to get to chat with her today, get some insight into her brand new business, her industry, her marketing strategy, and what makes it all tick. So, Meg, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So, first of all, Meg, tell me how you earn your living.
So, I am the owner and founder of The Goal Designer, which is a goal coaching service. And I say goal coaching, it's really life coaching, but I am very focused on like goals and I'm very goal oriented. And so I call it goal coaching just as a little differentiator.
I love that.
But I actually am not launched yet as of this recording. So my living I actually make, as you mentioned, in the moderator of that Facebook group. I work for Ash Amberjay as a Middle Finger Project. And that's how I make my money right now. Yeah, we're getting started with the business, but gotta have a little something on the side.
Okay, so this is really fun. So if you guys aren't familiar with Megan, she is right in this special little spot in her business where at the time this recording goes live, which is August 31st, 2017, she has literally launched her website today. It didn't exist yesterday. Yeah. To the world, but today it does. And there's a background story here, but we had the opportunity to say, wait a second, we could do this podcast episode the day that your stuff goes live, which would be pretty amazing. So you guys, Megan has been hustling hard over the past few months to get the Goal Designer off the ground. And it is as of right now, it's off the ground. And if you're listening to this anytime after August 31st, 2017, well, it's been around, but you are getting the very first look at this business that she has launched, which is really exciting. We're going to get into everything that's gone into this launch, the fact that she already has clients but not yet a full-on website and a full-on launched business. So we're really going to dig into that. But let's talk about, Megan, the story of how you've come to do this with your life. Because just as you said, you're doing some at-home work for Ash Amberjay. We love her, right? But tell me the story of like what brought you here to now today launching The Goal Designer.
So that is a very long story, as I feel like many people's stories are, right? So
Yeah.
I went to school for health sciences. I was going to be in health administration. I was going to like fix our health industry from the inside out. And I had all of these big dreams and ideas. And I got my degree and I got, the big girl corporate job, and I hated every second of it. It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent years in that job because I was afraid that it was just me, that I couldn't handle it, because it was my first like real job out of college. And I stayed in a very negative environment for way too long. And eventually I got to a point where my husband took me aside and he was like, you need to just quit. He's like, we'll figure it out. I'm very lucky to have a supportive partner in that, because I quit and I never looked back, and it has been amazing. So we actually started our family in that time, and I have my daughter. And so I was like, okay, well, this is a great time. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm kind of in between gigs. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm definitely not going back to that career. So we'll see how that goes. And I was not a fan of being a stay-at-home mom, which I feel like is hard for people to say out loud, because it just wasn't me. Like, I went from this identity of like Megan in my job to just Megan as a mom. And I think as a new mom, you go through a lot of identity crisis, just because it's such a big change in your life. And I'd always wanted to start a business, but I had no idea what I was going to do with it. And so at the end of 2016, I really got down into like goal setting and like, okay, 2017, I'm making it happen for myself, because time is just passing me by. I'm no closer to where I want to be. In fact, I feel like I'm farther away from where I want to be. And I turned 30 this year. And so I was also like kind of in that mindset of like, oh my gosh, I'm 30 and shouldn't I have my life together by now? And, I feel like that's pretty relatable narrative.
Yeah.
And so I bought Power Sheets by Laura Casey, if you're familiar with those. And I like went to town on goal setting, and one of them was to start a business. And I have just made that like my ultimate goal this year. Like, I would not go into 2018 as a non-business owner. It wasn't going to happen. So that is sort of how I got here. I actually started a blog earlier this year in February about intentional living and like ways that you can be intentional with your time, which really turned into sort of a time management sort of blog. And then it ended up getting away from me, and I was very unclear on how am I going to make this into a business, because I love the content, I love what I'm doing, but I don't want to be a full-time blogger. That's not the business I want to run. And so marketing and yoga pants came along at a very great time for me, because I had posted in the group, like I had this aha moment one night. Like, I bolted up in bed, scared my husband to death, grabbed a notebook and just started like furiously writing. Like, the goal designer just like came to me in a vision as I was falling asleep. And I remember posting in the Facebook group, and everybody was like, this is great. Like, this is awesome. Like, yes, do this. And it was just so validating. And I just like, there's something inside of me with it where it was just very much, oh my gosh, like this is my business. Like, this just feels right from the inside out. And so I've just been taking it and running with it ever since.
And you have been running with it. Like, I see the trajectory you've put yourself on. This, I don't want to call it a hustle, because people like hear that word and they cringe, or they're like, somebody else talking about hustle, whatever. But I've watched it, and you, girlfriend, you have put your head down and you've done it. Like, you are doing the work that is necessary to launch something in a quick turnaround. Like, how many days has it been since you decided this is what I'm doing?
So as of launch day today, it has been 3 months. So at the very end of May, I was like, okay, I got this idea and I need to make it happen. And it's actually, your story was actually inspiring to me, how you were speaking at this blog conference and it was 3 months away, and you were like, I'm not going as a representative of my company, I'm going as a representative of my business as an owner. And just to like see that you you did the same thing. You know what I mean? Like you put your head down and you were like, I'm making this happen. This is how it's happening. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And you made it happen, you know, in 3 months time. And so I was very inspired by that. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I can do this. We're going to do it. And I am, and I have, and it's been insane. It's been insane.
I love that. I love that. I mean, don't get us wrong, listeners. It's not like you have to turn around something big in 90 days. It just, sometimes that just works. Like this 90-day thing is a thing, you know, it works for some of us. And it's been so much fun to watch that aha moment back at the end of May. And then watch you like, no, I'm not changing this launch date. Like launch date is September 1st. Actually, today is August 31st. And just because we've been able to do this podcast, you're launching it a day ahead of time. But you set that date, you set that intention, and so fittingly, it's all along, like you set the goal and you're going to reach it, and you've reached it, girlfriend. So I'm so excited to be a part of the celebration of all of this. Let's take a step back and let's dive into what exactly is the Goal Designer and what are you offering?
Okay. Well, so the Goal Designer it's goal coaching, like I mentioned. It's for women who I like to say are at a turning point. So the people that I've worked with thus far have sort of fallen into like these three buckets. Like they're at a turning point within themselves. You know, you're at maybe a point where you are like, man, I need to like lose some weight, or like I need to just take better care of myself, whether it's mental health or physical health or just anything. I've worked with several women who are like, yes, like I need something inside me is ready to change and I just don't know how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also work with people who are at a turning point in their careers. Thus far, these have been new moms, sort of how I mentioned, like you just have this identity crisis when you have a
Mm-hmm.
child, and it doesn't happen to everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely more common than people talk about. And when you go from like, I don't really want to go back to my old career, but I want to do something, like I love being a mom, but I'm ready for something and I need to explore what that is. And then also a turning point in their relationships. And so this is maybe they have toxic friendships or they need like some help within their marriage. And so most of the women that I work with just mainly fall into one of those three categories.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time they overlap them, but there's usually like one area where they're like, this is where my heart is at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I need help with. And so what I do is I chat with you. You come to me with your goals. If you don't have them, I help you figure them out.
Mm-hmm.
You come to me with your goals. I tell you, like, okay, here's how we're going to break it down. I work in a 6-month sprint. So we're not looking at anything farther out than 6 months, because that just gets too big and too scary and overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody needs that, because then you're like, man, I'm never going to get where I want to go. And that's no good for anybody. So we focus on what are we going to do in 6 months time. So at the end of 6 months, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, whoa, like I see this improvement that I've made.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go through step by step, and I'm like, here's what you're going to do this month. Here's what you're going to do this week. And if you need to, here's what you're going to do every single day. And so you don't have to think about all the big picture things. You just have to think about, okay, I'm trying to lose weight. Today, I just need to drink 8 glasses of water. That's all I have to focus on. And if you just keep doing that step by step, little by little, at the end of your sprint, at the end of 6 months, at the end of a month, however long it ends up needing to take, you're going to be like, okay, like once your head is up out of the sand, you're like, I did this thing. And it's because somebody else, me, has taken the pressure of the big picture off of you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Okay. So I know the backstory here, but you are not only providing the goal coaching service, but you also have a product in the works. So I know that it's not quite available just yet, but tell the listeners about this product you're also launching and how they can get their hands on it.
Yeah, so as I was refining my goal coaching services, and because I have it set up the way that I do by month, by week, by day, I realized like a planner is the way to go, because I need something for my clients to be able to track their goals and to be able to really just see right in front of them, like, this is progress that I'm making, without necessarily having to rely on me to tell them what progress they're making. And so because I'm obsessed with planners, I sought out to say, okay, I think I need a planner for this. And I looked for an existing planner because physical products are no joke. They're
Yeah,
so
no
hard.
kidding.
And I was hoping to maybe avoid it. But there just was nothing out there that was like, yep, this is the product for my clients. And I'm not going to give a product to my clients that I don't fully endorse for my service. And so it was like, okay, I guess I need to make a planner then. And so I have been very hard at work on that. And I've got it mostly together, and it will be available for pre-order soon for the 2018 calendar year. So
Nice.
we'll have it available. It's something you can get first notification on when pre-sale goes by signing up on my mailing list, and it will be available very soon for pre-order within the month of September. And I'm so excited about it, you guys. Like it's like this has been a labor of love for me. It's just something that I didn't plan on actually doing this year. It's something that I thought about earlier in this process and was like, yeah, maybe like next year I can incorporate this. Uh, and then I realized, okay, if I'm going to make this happen for next year, I need to do a lot this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to wait until next year. I'm not the personality where I just wait for things to happen to me. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this along with launching the coaching, along with the website, and this is happening, and we're
and it's
doing
happening,
it, and I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. Okay. So take me back when you decided at the end of May, hey, this is happening. It's launching at the end of August, September 1st, what did you do first? Like what did you put into play first?
So the very first thing I did was I listened to and looked up and immersed myself in hashtag all the things, like all of the resources. You with Jam Marketing, you have like a launch resource. And so like I snatched that up. I've been listening to podcasts like on repeat over and over again, and just like really like, okay, what does it really take to launch a business? Because I know what I think it takes to launch a business, but I've never launched a business, so that may not be true. And so really just digging into, okay, let me see like how have other people done it, and how have other people done it quickly without waiting. And so I definitely would say I really just threw myself into, I need to think like a business owner. I don't need to think like somebody who I think is going to launch something. I need to think as though I've already launched, and make myself be in that mindset, even if I have no clue how this is going to take shape.
Yeah. And I think from watching from the sidelines, I think a major part of what you've done has been, I get that this could fail, but I'm doing the work anyway. You've put your head down and you've done the work. You've gathered all your information, but not to a fault, like not to a procrastination fault. You're taking in information while you're putting things into play. So while we're sitting here August 31st, 2017 saying this business is officially out there, the website is up, like it's done, it's out there into the world now. This is the first day that it has truly been out there. But here's the deal. You already have clients.
I do.
Yeah. Like little disclaimer here. This girl has already gotten some goal coaching clients. So tell me about how you've done that, because I think a lot of times people get this idea and they try to get all of the pieces into place and try to make it all perfect before they actually put it out. And you, girlfriend, have done the exact opposite. And you've just been like, you know what? No, I'm going to officially launch everything on this day, but I can build some buzz ahead of time. Tell us how you've built that buzz, and tell us how you've actually gotten your first couple of clients already.
Yeah. So when I decided I'm doing this thing, this is how I'm going to do it, I spent some time putting together like a rough, like, this is what I am going to have my coaching session be like. And it
Mm-hmm.
has since changed as things do. It has
Mm-hmm.
evolved. But I put feelers out to just people in my network. Just I threw out to some people who were friends, but and some people who were just like not super close to me. And I just put out, hey, I'm starting this business. Here's what it's about. Here's what I'm doing. Can I coach you for free and help? And in exchange, you'll help me build how you'll help me refine my coaching process.
Mm-hmm.
And in exchange, I want a testimonial from you that I can use so that people will see like, okay, like she's legit. She knows what she's doing. She knows
Yeah.
what she's talking about. And so I got a handful of people from that. And I think it went pretty well. I had a couple of sessions where it was like, maybe not, as you do when you're first starting
Yeah.
out, you stumble, you do. And but I actually, my two clients that I have emerged from that, and I've been working with them for a few months now. And it has just turned from like, okay, you're helping me out to do this free thing, and now they're like, no, this is actually very valuable for me, so like let's keep on with this coaching relationship. And it's
Mm.
been awesome. So it's been really nice and very validating before launch to just have like knowing that I'm on the right track. And I
Yes.
think to avoid putting your things out there and your stuff out there on launch day when you have no clients or no business or you have nothing, and then launching is scary. You're putting all of your stuff out there and hoping for the best, but going into it knowing that I already have some clients, I have people that like this idea has been validated by before we've even launched, has just been so just like soul soothing to me to know that
Mm-hmm.
all the work that I've been putting in is paying off, and it will continue to
Yes.
pay off. I absolutely know it.
Yes. So, a lot of times when people are launching a product or a course, something like that, it's pretty common for people to talk about beta testing. It's less common to hear about people beta testing their service, but that's exactly what you're doing. And it not only has helped you refine your process, but it's validated the entire idea. uh, so crucial. And I think it was so smart to do that before you full on launched. The, you know, that's the true beauty of a beta anyway, right? You do it before you full on launch so you can validate. But the other thing that this is just praise sesh over here. I'm just going to praise you, Megan, because
Okay.
I've been watching from the sidelines and I'm just like, I'm just like, yes, Megan, every move you've made, I'm like, oh, you're doing so well. The other thing that you've done is that you've done the beta, you've tested it out, but you haven't changed your launch date regarding your beta. So you said, I am doing this by September 1st, 2017, come hell or high water, that's happening. And then you decided, okay, I need to get some people into this thing before I actually launch. But regardless of what happened in that beta, you didn't allow those couple sessions that didn't go so hot to pull you back. You said, okay, all right, I'm taking this in. I'm taking this as some data. Maybe they weren't my ideal, but
Yep.
these two other people, they are my ideal. So, okay, I'm going to take that as just feedback. I'm not going to get sidetracked and kind of take myself off of the track that I'm on to launch by September 1st. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep working. And I'm just so encouraged by that. That's all I have to say, you guys. That's all I have to say about that. I'm encouraged by the fact that you've put yourself in that humble position to put it out there to betas, but you've also stayed on the track that you initially set out, that initial goal, and you're going to see it through, which, if nothing else, really speaks so highly to the service that you're going to be providing, keeping people on track to reach their goals, right?
Yeah.
Like you are
So
practicing what you preach. So there's no
yeah,
question in there, but
I use I use what I teach my clients. I
uh-huh.
use that for myself. Like that's how I'm keeping myself on track for this launch. So when I was like, okay, I have 3 months to do this, I set like, okay, this is my big thing I'm doing for, for June, for July, for August. And within that, I'm like, okay, this week we're focusing on email marketing or Instagram, or we're focusing on website copy, or we're focusing on like planner design, or we're focusing on whatever. And then every single day I have, every day I've got something to do, and I've got check boxes for every day, for every single thing. And I fully attribute that to actually succeeding. So I kind of just love that it's this sort of meta thing. That it's my service, but it has also provided me the path to get to where I can actually provide the service.
Yes,
so
I love it.
It's kind of been awesome. I love it.
I love that as well. Okay, so where do we want to go from here? So we've talked about how you've gotten your first couple of clients. And right now, obviously, August 31st, 2017, you can go to thegoaldesigner.com, correct? That's the correct URL, and see what Megan is all about. It's live. It's up there. It's happening. Tell me, now that you have launched, what is your first goal that you want to reach now?
So my next focus, now that the website is up and now that this is officially launched, is to shift and focus on getting the planner ready to go. Pre-sales for that up, which should be coming shortly. If you're listening to this when it airs, should be pretty shortly. So that is like my next big thing, is like, it's another sort of launch later on down the road. So there will be pre-sales available for that. It'll officially go on sale November, December for the 2018 year. And so that's like my next step, is to get really the planner out there. And from there, I think that we will see. I think I might need to take some time off.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right in the hustle mode, the head down working. And yeah, as we record this, I'm definitely at the end of one of those modes, and I'm like, I really need a break, and I'm taking one next week. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, you got to take that time. So I'm encouraged that you're already kind of thinking about that. Like, work, rest. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to take a little detour and talk about your actual clients, because you're working with clients right now. Can you give us an example of the types of things that your couple of clients are working on right now, and how you're guiding that process for them to set their goals and actually reach them? Like, give us some examples there.
Yeah. So my very first client actually ended up being like my ideal person, which has been just so, I think, just life-giving to this business, that like I happened to reach out to the right person. And she is very much in this new mom sort of place where she's a giver. She gives to her child, she gives to her husband, she gives to her family, she gives to her community. And she is very much in that first bucket of, she's at a turning point within herself, and she really needs to like turn inwards, and doesn't know how to do it without feeling guilty or without feeling like she's taking away from her family. And so one of the things that we've been working on with her is she wanted to, for instance, lose some weight. She's got some of the baby weight, we all do. And some more than others. So she wanted to lose the baby weight. And so one of her goals was to lose 20 pounds. And part of my process is that I have you drill down why you want to do what you say you want to do. Because when you say, I want to lose 20 pounds, like, what are some things that you would think that are reasons that are motivating you? Like, oh, I want to be healthy. I want to, like, look better. I want to, just very surface level things that are good and great. But what I like to do is have people really drill down and figure out, why am I really doing this? Like, what is really motivating me? Because it's going to get hard, and there's going to be a time where, especially like with weight loss, you're going to be like, oh, maybe I'll just like have the second slice of cake, or maybe I'll just like have this or do this. And it's going to get hard, because all of your goals are hard. There are always going to be hard moments. And so I like to remind my clients to tap into like, okay, like I know this is something you're struggling with right now, but remember you're doing this because X.
Right.
And it's a deep emotional reason
Mm-hmm.
and not a surface level reason. So they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to do
Yeah.
this. So for instance, hers is she wanted to lose 20 pounds. So I asked her, why do you want to do that? And she wants to do that because she wants to be healthy for her daughter. Why do you want to do that? Because she wants to have space in her brain so that she can give more to her daughter. Because if she's
Mm-hmm.
thinking about how she needs to lose weight, it's taking up space in her brain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do you want to get rid of the space? Like, why do you want to make more space in your brain? And she's like, well, I want to contribute to my family a little bit more. Well, why do you want to do that? Well, because I've been toying around with starting a business. Why do you want to do that? Well, my husband and I want to move to Italy and we want to have this like life. And she like went and opened up to this, like, I want to have this life and this is the life I want to live. And if I don't lose this 20 pounds, it's not going to happen for me. And like, she was just like, as soon as we got to the end of that, she's like, how did you do that? Like, how did that just happen? And, and so I make her tap into that when she's having a hard time. So I took that and I'm like, okay, you want to lose 20 pounds? Here's what we're going to do. And so that's one thing. There's I have another client who is like, I want to be debt free. I want to be debt free. Like that, don't we all? Of course we do. And so I've been working with her on that, and we just take small, tiny steps, and we're just getting there, and slowly, she's gonna get there.
It's so powerful to understand that deeper why. And just like you just said, it went from I want to lose 20 pounds to I want to live the life that I've always dreamed of. Like that gets so much bigger the more you are pushing her to figure out her why. It's probably one of the very first things that you do with your clients, and probably one of the most, enlightening and light bulb moment ridden type of experience. I think that's really cool. All right. So I wonder, what kind of times, okay, let me pull that back. I wonder, have you come up to a point in your journey over the last 90 days of launching this business where you had to remind yourself of your why?
Yeah.
And take us to that moment. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to wait a minute because it's being wonky again.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I absolutely have. So, so I have a daughter. She's home with me part of the time, and she's at daycare part of the time. And so, come on. And so between caring for her and doing my other work and building this business and trying to take care of myself, it's I'm busy all of the time. And so that's knowing you have such a short launch time. Like I knew I was going to be busy all the time, and it's definitely not something that I was naive about, I don't think, but it just, when you're in it, it's so difficult. You know, I had a time where like my daughter was sick, so she was home from daycare all week, but I have deadlines to meet, I have goals to meet, but I also want to like be a good mom, and I want to like cuddle my baby when she's sick. And so just really making the choice to be like, okay, I'm doing this because I want to be able to be around for her when she is sick. Like this is the reason that I'm doing this. Like I want to be available to her as much as possible, and I want to give her a life where her mom is there and present. And it's funny because when you're in that moment where it's so hard, a lot of the times you're like, okay, like I just have to figure it out. I have to figure it out. If she's sleeping, I need to be working, and I am just not going to get rest, and it will just have to work out in short sprints. I mean, that was a week, and that was very exhausting. But then the next week, I took it a little more slow. I actually have implemented a couple times a month slow Mondays. Come on, video. There we go. Slow Mondays. So I have just sort of adopted this thing where you're just busy all the time on Mondays, right? Because it's Monday, you're like ready to tackle the week. And something that's helped me slow down and help refocus me is to just have a slow Monday where I'm just like, I'm going to go do what I want to do today. I'm going to take advantage of my flexibility as a business owner, as somebody that works remotely. And I have to force myself to take time to refocus. And by doing that, it doesn't get so hard. Like it doesn't catch up with me as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And if you hadn't figured out your why of like why you're doing all of this, I would assume probably not take the time or have the ability to take the time to think, what could a slow Monday look like for me? And is that something that I need to actually put into place for my life? It just all comes back to setting that intention. And I love that you're the voice for that. I love that you are leaning into that. You've identified it in your own life for it to matter. And now you're taking it to that next level and opening it up to more people in the world. I'm just encouraged by that. That's so great. So I want to switch gears and lighten things up. Some just easy questions before we wrap up. Okay. So, Meg, tell me the favorite place you've ever traveled to.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be vulnerable here. I've never left this country in my life.
Me either.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I don't even have my passport. I know everyone's like, what?
I just got a passport
list,
this year, like because that was one of my goals, is to get a passport so that like I could do this. And,
yeah.
But so my favorite place that I've traveled thus far has hands down been Seattle. I had my honeymoon there, so I'm not a hot beach vacation kind of girl. I'm give me the city, give me cold. So we went, I got married in December. I live in Michigan, so it was in the middle of a snowstorm, just the perfect day for me. And we went to Seattle and we honeymooned there in the middle of December. So it was like 55, 45. It was rainy and dark, and everybody's like, why are you going there? Like, that sounds like the worst vacation. But my husband and I were like, this is the best. Like,
oh my gosh, that's so funny.
A ball. Like, we loved it. So we did all the touristy things, and then we had a blast. We explored the place. Like, I had some old lady on the street ask me for directions to some place, and I gave them to her. I don't know how even, but I was like, yep, no big deal.
Because you were just loving it. You looked like you belonged. So that's so cool. What is your favorite way to learn? Do you like to read, listen? We kind of talked about you've been going through a learning vortex here in the last couple months. So what's your favorite way?
So I am a listener and a reader. I think up until earlier this year, I had been pretty much strictly a reader, but now I've been getting into listening to podcasts, and now I'm having a harder time going back to reading as much. And so it takes like a really good book for me to go back and be like, okay, I'm going to read this. Like, I'm going to take the time to read this. And so, I think right now I'm definitely leaning into listening, and it's mostly because I can work while I do it.
Yeah, that multitasking, I know. Now, you're right at the beginning of all of this, but I would love to know, what would you love to outsource?
Ooh, okay. I think I would love to outsource social media posting. So it just takes so much time out of my day. And I don't even have things on all the social media outlets yet. But I know for me, like, my audience is hanging out on Pinterest, and just the thought of curating Pinterest right now is so overwhelming to me. And so I think I would love to just have somebody like, let me write the captions, you find the images, you post it. I don't want to like deal with that part of it. And then I'll come back and I'll interact, and I will absolutely be present with anybody that wants to interact with me. But if I just can save that time, it would be amazing.
Yes, I hear you. It's because it's a back and forth game, and it can just take over so much of your life. I completely understand that. All right. So one last question. I mean, you know what's coming here. So I want you to look back on At the end, I know this is a funny question because like
look back 3 months.
Look back 90 days from today. Look back on the end, the end of May when you sat up in bed and you sketched out what you thought, this goal designer idea could become. Look back on Megan a few months ago and tell us what would you say to her, that Megan? Because I think she's even though it's been 90 days, I think she's a very different Megan.
She is.
She's a very different Megan.
Yeah, she has gone from like this very, not timid, but very unsure person to like, this is me, this is what I'm doing. I would just tell her really, it sounds funny, but enjoy it. Like enjoy the work you're putting into it, and just remember that you had this crazy idea and you had this crazy deadline and you decided to just do it. And so I would just tell her, like, just trust that, just go with it and enjoy it while it's happening, because now it's launch day, which is a huge weight off of me. But it's just like, how badass is it that 90 days ago this didn't exist? I have clients and a website, and I've got, a planner that's almost ready, and like, how awesome is it that you can just say, I'm going to do this, and then just do it. And I think that I would just tell her, just keep doing it. Just go. Go. Don't wait. Just do it.
That's amazing. Oh man, it's so good. I'm going to take 5 seconds to let our internet connection get to us. There we go. Okay. I couldn't agree more. And as much as you have been working really hard, I love that advice to enjoy it too. Because now you've done it, girlfriend, you did it. Like, you did it. That's so exciting. Guys. Okay. So, before we go, I want you to have the chance to tell all of our listeners where they can find you and the Goal Designer online, because you guys, it just went live today. If you're listening to it, this episode, August 31st, 2017, Megan literally just launched her website today. So to support her, obviously, I want you to go check her out, send her some love. So Meg, tell us where they can go to do that.
Okay, so you can go to the website at thegoaldesigner.com. You can find me on Instagram at The Goal Designer. You can look me up on Facebook. I'm The Goal Designer. On Pinterest, I'm The Goal Designer. And on Twitter, I'm The Goal Designer. So
perfect.
Anywhere you want to go, just look for The Goal Designer. Make sure you put the. There is a goaldesigner.com that is just a defunct blank WordPress site from a million years ago.
Okay.
That's not me.
That's not you.
That's not me. But yeah, go. If you sign up for the mailing list, I have a special promo code for Marketing Yoga Pants listeners.
Ooh, okay. So we'll link that over in the show notes. So, okay, you guys, you heard her. You got to go check her out, thegoaldesigner.com. Send her some love. It's launch day for her, you guys. So we all need to rally around. That's what we're all about here at Marketing and Yoga Pants, rallying around, supporting each other while we support ourselves. So, and after you've done that, hop into our private Facebook group to hear even more from Megan over the next few days. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marketing and Yoga Pants podcast. Keep the conversation going by visiting marketingandyogapants.com/Facebook, where you'll get to join that private Facebook group I've been talking so much about. There, you'll get to chat with our podcast guests. Yeah, they're in there too. And all of the other brilliant creative business owners. We're connecting, we're meeting our soul sisters, and we're building our businesses, all while in yoga pants. So come hang out with us. Again, visit marketingandyogapants.com/Facebook to get in. And one more thing. If you dig this podcast, would you be awesome and share it with someone? This entire Marketing and Yoga Pants movement is nothing without its community. So please share. And if you're really feeling the love right now, jump into iTunes. You're probably already there if you're listening to this right now, and leave us a rating and review. The more of those we rack up, the more the podcast will be found by ladies like you, and the stronger this community becomes. This episode was edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, so go find them at podcastengineers.com. This episode was also brought to you by my online marketing agency, Jam Marketing Group, and you can find us at jammarketinggroup.co. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Love ya. Bye.